Hey guys, what's up? This is Ananya, your master teacher at Vedantu for Social Science. How are you all? I hope you guys are taking very good care of yourself. So guys, today I'm very excited to start with the story of Indian national movement. In my last session, I just gave you a brief idea about what are we going to cover in this unit of Indian national movement. Guys, let me remind you once again. In this unit, I'm going to cover from 1857 till roughly 1917. So basically, India got independence in 1947. But yeah, in this particular unit, I'm going to cover the events which took place between 1857 and 1917. So can we say that Britishers came into India in year 1857? No. Why 1857 year is important? Because that was the first war of independence against Britishers. Yes, that is why this year is very important. Now I know you guys are excited to know, sir. Tell us the reasons why this war took place in 1857. There might be some reason, right? Guys, there were many reasons. There was no one single reason why this war took place in 1857, but there were many reasons why this war took place in 1857. And in this session and in the coming sessions, I'm going to tell you all those reasons why 1857 war took place. What was the outcome of this war? Everything we are going to discuss in this particular session and in the coming sessions. Let me guarantee you guys, you will have a great time with me learning history. You will definitely enjoy learning history. Okay, so guys, without wasting much time, let's get started and do not forget to hit the like button. Okay, by the way, guys, at the end of the session, I'm going to give you some homework questions. Make sure that you guys are giving me the right answer in the comment section. Okay, chalo, let's get started. Now, students, there are many movies in Bollywood, like which are made on all these events, like the War of 1857, like Mangal Pandey, then the story of Jhansi Ki Rani, Queen of Jhansi, then the Indian freedom struggle of 1947. Like many movies are made, many documentaries are there, many movies are made. I would suggest you, whenever you get time, try to watch these movies. Okay, great. Now, guys, as I told you, there were many reasons why the War of 1857 took place. Why it is considered as the first war of 1857. There were many reasons. But in this session, I will tell you in detail the two reasons. That is the political cause and the military cause. I'm going to cover these two topics in detail. What were the political causes of 1857 war and what were the military causes for the war of 1857. All these two topics I'm going to cover in this particular session in detail. So I want you guys to be there with me throughout the session. Okay, so that you understand each and everything in detail. All right, great. Now, guys, Britishers, as I told you, the story starts from 1857. It is not like Britishers came into India in 1857. Guys, Britishers came into India way back, like nearly year 1600. They came into India as a traders. Okay, they established their factory in Surat. Later on, they used to come to India. They used to do trading activities, and again they used to go back. Yes, but they had an idea of consolidating their rule in India. They were of the opinion that they have to establish their rule in India. And guys, it was not due to one fine day they came into India and entire India came under the dominance of Britishers. No, it took a very long time for the Britishers to consolidate their rule in India. So guys, now I'm going to start with the causes of the first war of independence. And majorly I'm going to focus on the political cause and the military cause in this particular session. Guys, this is India in the 12th century, in 19th century. This is the map of India of 19th century India. All right. Now, guys, as I told you, it took them nearly 100 years to consolidate their rule in India. So, like from 1757 till 1857, they dominated India. So, it took them nearly 100 years to cover almost entire part of India. Yes. Now, guys, Britishers from initially they had a simple ideology. Britishers had an expansionist policies. Guys, they were of the firm opinion that they came into India with this policy of expansionist policies. What is expansionist policy? They wanted to rule in India. They wanted to expand their empire in India. With such thinking, such ideology, they came into India. They wanted to economically exploit India, and they did. They economically exploited India. Guys, what is the meaning of exploiting something? Like taking full advantage of some situation. Okay, so they established their rule in India. They started expanding their empire in India. They started economically exploiting India. Not only this, they did also many administrative changes in India, due to which it adversely affected almost all the segments of the Indian society. Guys, if you think that when they came into India, only few people in India were against Britishers. No, guys. Almost every segment of the Indian society hated Britishers. Tribes, tribals who lives in forest, peasants, farmers, landless laborer, princely states, common people like you and me. Everyone was frustrated of this British rule. So there were many reasons, guys, why this war of 1857 took place. There were various reasons. I cannot tell you all the reasons in this one video. That is why what I thought to tell you it is two reasons in this particular video. Okay, so this is just I'm giving you a brief idea before I start with the actual topic of political cause. Ruling classes removed from their power. The classes, the ruling classes, the dynasties which are ruling in different parts of India, they were removed from their power. This was one of the reasons why 1857 war took place. Peasants was deprived of their land rights. As I told you, they also ill-treated peasants. They also ill-treated tribes. So peasants were also one of the driving force in this war of 1857. They were also part of this 1857 war. Artisans lost their livelihood. Well-paid higher posts were reserved only for British soldiers. So the highest position in the Indian army or in the British army was only reserved for the British soldiers. Priests and scholars found themselves without income in the absence of Indian rulers. So when there were Indian rulers before Britishers were there in India, these Indian rulers used to take care of priests and scholars. They used to support them with money. They used to give them financial assistance. But once these Indian rulers were replaced by Britishers, they found themselves helpless. So you can see, guys, almost every segment of the society was affected, not in a positive way, but in a negative way. How? Let's get started, guys, with a very, very important topic. But again, guys, we have something more to discuss. Like Indian soldiers with the company had a hard life due to their low income. As I already told you, first of all, higher positions were only reserved for the British soldiers. Secondly, income was also very low of Indian soldiers. They were ill treated. So, due to all these reasons, guys, due to all these cumulative reasons, comprehensive reasons, it gave rise to the War of 1857. So, guys, without wasting much time, let's get started in detail. Let's understand two major causes of the War of 1857. My dear students, in this and in the coming session, I'm going to tell you guys various reasons. But there was one such reason which is also known as the immediate cause, due to which actually the war started. So, to understand that immediate cause, first we need to understand some other causes. So, the very first I'm going to discuss with you is political cause. All right, great. Guys, so in political causes, the very first one I want to explain you is about the policy of expansion. As I already told you, they had an idea of expanding their rule in India. So what they did, how they will expand their rule in India. These were the four methods through which they expanded their rule in India. Let's understand each and every method in detail. The very first one is by the outright wars. They started waging wars with Indian rulers. Yes, like for example, the Battle of Buxar, which took place in 1764. After this Battle of Buxar, Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha came under the dominance of Britishers. It was followed by Anglo-Mysore War in the southern part of India, which took place between 1767 and 1799. Entire Mysore state, the south of India, came under the dominance of Britishers. Followed by the third Anglo-Maratha War between 1879 and 1818. Almost entire Maharashtra came under the dominance of Britishers. Then they went to north of India. The second Anglo-Sikh War between 1823 and 1856. Punjab came under the dominance of Britishers. The further expansion was with Sindh. in the northwestern part of India, Assam in the northeastern part of India, Arkana, Tensarim, Pegu, all these places in Myanmar, Tenasirim and Pegu in Myanmar. So you can just understand, guys, with the with by waging wars, they started dominating different parts of India. And you can just see that almost it took 100 years for Britishers to establish their rule in India in different parts of India. So first they concentrated on Bengal, then they went to south of India, then they came to Maharashtra in the western part of India, then they came to north of India, then they went to northeast of India. This is how entire India came under the dominance of Britishers within 100 years. So the very first reason in political causes you have to remember is policy of expansion. In policy of expansion, this was the very first cause by outright wars. My dear students, I want you guys to pause the video, take out your notebook, write down the name of the chapter, and make a note of all these years. Okay? Make your own notes, running notes, so that you guys can prepare your own notes and revise it later on. Okay? Because history is all about stories, years, and events. For that, you have to make a note of everything. All right. Next one, by subsidiary alliance. Now, a very important 1 mark question can be asked in the exam. 1 mark question. What is the question? Who introduced subsidiary alliance? Subsidiary alliance was introduced by Lord Wellesley. Now the question arises, what was subsidiary alliance? In simple sense, subsidiary alliance was an agreement between the British East India Company and the Indian princely states. With that agreement, the Indian princely state came under the dominance of Britishers. Simple as that. So that was an agreement between the Britishers and the Indian princely states. Let me tell you that agreement. What was subsidiary alliance? An agreement between the British East India Company and the princely states by virtue of which these states lost their independency to the British, lost their sovereignty, lost their freedom to the British. So when this subsidiary alliance was accepted by the Indian princely states, they lost their freedom. And when they lost their freedom, what was the consequence? Let's see. First of all, Indian rulers who accepted the subsidiary alliance, they have to accept the British as a supreme power. No other choice. Second, they have to surrender their foreign relations. If those princely states are in any form, in any way, they are connected with the other countries, they have to end their foreign relations. They cannot contact with any foreign country without the permission of Britishers. Third, Indian rulers have to accept a British resident at their headquarters. Means there should be a British officer in their princely state who will keep an eye on the state. Indian rulers had to agree to maintain British army at their own cost. At their own cost. This is something you have to remember. So basically, Britishers provided them security, but who will pay for the security? The princely states. So, in short, virtually, those Indian rulers who accepted the subsidiary alliance, they virtually lost their independence. Yes, and this was subsidiary alliance. So, guys, this can be asked for 1 mark. Who introduced subsidiary alliance? So, you have to write down it was introduced by Lord Wellesley. All right, next, Nawab of Awadh in 1765. What happened? By 1856, practically all the Indian states had either been annexed or had entered into alliance with the company. What is the meaning of annexing something? To take forcibly something. Yes. Third, by using the doctrine of lapse. Doctrine means a belief. Now, this was a third political reason. Okay, in political reason, the very first one, we have got policy of expansion. In policy of expansion, I completed the outright wars, subsidiary alliance, and the third one we are going to discuss is about the use of by using the doctrine of lapse. Now, guys, what was doctrine of lapse? Let's understand. If any Indian ruler died without a male heir, H is silent. Okay, if any Indian ruler died without a male heir, his kingdom would lapse. That that is, it would come under the company's rule. So if any Indian ruler died without a male heir, okay, so if there is no male successor, then the territory would be taken by Britishers. Simple as that. Let me give you an example also. Like in 1856, what happened? The ruler of Jhansi died without his male heir. So Rani of Jhansi was pensioned. She was given pension, and their adopted son Anandrao was not recognized as a lawful successor. Why? Now you will have a question, sir. He was a male heir, right? So why he was not recognized as a lawful successor? Because he was adopted. So under this doctrine of lapse, if a ruler has no male heir, then in that case, the area or the state or the princely state would be annexed by the Britishers. That was doctrine of lapse. Similarly, many other states came under the dominance of Britishers under this doctrine of lapse. Like other states which annexed by applying this policy was Satara, Jaipur, Sambalpur, Udaipur, Nagpur, so on and so forth. The next reason was on the pretext of alleged misrule. Now, what is the meaning of pretext? Giving an excuse, false, false excuse, false reason is known as pretext. So, on the excuse of alleged misrule means what do we understand from this? Like, for example, in 1856, Lord Dalhousie annexed Awadh, annexed to take it forcibly or forcibly. How? He declared Awadh was being misruled and British rule was needed to ensure proper administration. So, what excuse Lord Dalhousie gave to Awadh that Awadh is been misruled, it is not properly administered, and they need the help of Britishers to administer this big area. So, under the pretext of alleged misrule, this area was taken. But obviously, guys, the people of Awadh were against this, and that is why the people of Awadh also joined the revolt of 1857. Guys, initially what I said you, there were many reasons why this war of 1857 took place. Many reasons. I'm just discussing you with the very first reason. I hope guys you are able to understand everything. If yes, do not forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to our channel guys. It is absolutely free. Next one. Disrespect shown to Bahadur Shah. Guys, Bahadur Shah was a Mughal emperor. Now, he was not given respect. How? Let's understand the disrespect shown to Bahadur Shah. First of all, the name of the Mughal king removed from the coin. The name of Bahadur Shah, the emperor of Mughals, was removed from the coin. You can just imagine his name was removed from the coin. His successors were not permitted to use the Red Fort. His successors were not allowed to use the imperial titles. Alam Pana, okay, such kind of titles, if I'm not wrong, okay. They cannot use these imperial titles. Jahapana, such kind of titles. Obviously, which was hurting the religious sentiments of Muslims. It was hurting the sentiments of Muslims. Because of which, hence, his wife Zinat Mahal began plotting against the Britishers. Yes, plotting against someone means to make a plan. Okay, to fight against someone. That is the meaning of plotting against the Britishers. So well, this was one of the reasons that is a disrespect which was shown to Bahadur Shah. He was a Mughal emperor. Next, the treatment which was given to Nana Sahib. Now, who was Nana Sahib? Let's understand. He was an adopted son of Bajirao II. Britishers refused to grant him pension. He was refused to he was not given pension. He was forced to leave Kanpur. He widely resented the Maratha region. It was obviously guys it was widely resented in the Maratha region. Obviously guys the people of Maharashtra or the Maratha region obviously they were not happy. The way he was treated, the way Nana Sahib was being treated. Finally guys he traveled from Delhi to Lucknow to gain support but did not succeed. Again, in that particular case, the Maratha region went against Britishers. Now, there's absentee sovereignty of the British. Now, what is meaning of absentee sovereignty of British? Now, I will give you a comparison between the Mughals and the Britishers. It's a very simple comparison. You will come to know why Indians were not happy with Britishers. Let's see. First of all, Mughal rule in India. Guys, Mughals who conquered India in course of time, they settled in India. Are you understanding? So the Mughals who ruled in India, ultimately they settled in India. On the other hand, if we talk about British, ruled by British government at a distance of 1,000 miles. So someone sitting thousands of miles, and from sitting over there, that government is ruling India. Obviously, it is not acceptable, right? Second, revenue collected from India was spent in India only. So when Mughals were ruling India, the revenue which was collected by Mughals was spent in India for the development of India. On the other hand, if we talk about Britishers, India's wealth was being drained to England and not utilized for their welfare. So they used to take taxes from Indians and that money was drained towards England. This is what is known as economic exploitation. Now I hope you guys are able to understand if you compare Mughal rule and British rule, why Indians were not happy with Britishers. Alright guys, let's understand few more reasons. But before I move ahead with the other reasons, I completed the political cause. Now the next I'm going to tell you about the military cause. So before I tell you about the military cause, I want you guys to listen to this pro subscription of Vedantu guys. Now guys, let me tell you why you should join Vedantu, why you should enroll to Vedantu. I know that you guys are able to understand everything on YouTube. We guys are giving you free education on YouTube and you guys are able to understand everything. That is what we want. But still, I would suggest you join Vedantu. Why? Let me tell you the reasons. First of all, guys, we are giving you some promise. And this is something no offline institute or no online institute will ever give you this. We are giving you some promise. What is that promise? Before I tell you, I just want you to listen for next 2 minutes about our features. First of all, if you join Vedantu, here you will find unlimited live classes. You can attend unlimited live classes. Yes, with all the high level quizzes. Yes, whenever you participate in these quizzes, in live sessions, you are basically competing with the students throughout the world. Because in Vedantu, students are not only from India, but they are from other countries as well. So just look at your competition. Not only this, interactive replays. If you miss out the session due to any reason, like due to poor connectivity or due to family function, if you miss out the session, then in that case, you can watch the replays. And those replays are going to be interactive. Now, what are interactive replays? You can participate in the live quizzes and you can find your name on leaderboard. So it is equivalent like a live session. Yes. Not only this, you can also download the handwritten notes of your master teachers. So the notes which I'm giving you, the things which I'm explaining you, you can download all these notes. So the problem of notes is also solved. All right. Not only this, in class doubt solving. Are you guys able to ask me doubts over here? No. But over there, you guys can ask doubts. During the session, all your doubts are cleared. Tests are taken. Assignments are given to you. Not only this, you have an access to unlimited micro courses and crash courses. Do you know what are micro courses? Let's take an example. If you want to once again attend any of the topic, let's take an example in physics, chem, bio, mathematics, social science, in any of the topic you want, in any of the subject you want to again attend any of the chapter. You don't want to watch the replay, but you want to attend the chapter once again. So you can enroll to those micro courses and no need to pay for those micro courses. It is going to be absolutely free for you and it is going to be unlimited. Yes. So basically, are you understanding? You are getting more and more number of classes with lesser the price. It's very simple, guys, to enroll. Just there is a link in the description box and it is also pinned in the comment section. Just go over there, click on the link, you will be redirected to a website. And if you want discount on any of our plan, you can apply my coupon code as ADPRO. If you use this code, you will get additional 10% discount flat. Guys, there are various plans we have. What I would suggest you, at least try it for a month. At least give it a try for a month. Because if you once you try it for a month, you will come to know what are our services. And let me guarantee you guys, later on you will take our long-term batches also. Obviously, you can directly take our long-term batches, but I would suggest you try it for a month. And in this also, you can apply my coupon code and the price will come down. Simple guys, my coupon code is ADPRO. Go over there, check out our plans and enroll to our sessions ASAP. Now guys, whatever fees you are paying to Vedantu is actually zero. Now you will be like, sir, how it is zero? Yeah? Like we are paying money. So how it is zero? Guys, why it comes down to zero? As I told you, you have an access to unlimited micro courses. And when you have an access to unlimited micro courses, so if you divide any number with unlimited, with infinite, the price will come down to zero. Are you understanding? Yes. Now, guys, what promise we are giving you? Just listen to this promise, and no one will give you, guys. We at Vedantu are giving you this promise. What is that promise? If you feel there has been no progress, we will return your fees back. Yes, you have heard it right. If you feel there has been no progress after taking our long term batches, if you feel there has been no progress, we will give your course fees back and no questions asked. We will just return your fees back. And that is a promise we are giving you. No one will give you this promise except Vedantu, guys. So what are you waiting for? We just need a simple commitment. Like a mandatory of 75% attendance for the student, minimum 75% of the classes you have to attend, and a minimum of 75% of the assignments which are given to you should be completed. If you give us such commitment, then we are giving you the promise. Still, if the performance is not as per your expectations, guys, understand, if the performance is not as per your expectation, we will return the course fees paid to us. Yes. Guys, batches are already started. Just look at your batches. You guys are in ICSE, so you guys just look at the batches which are already started, and there are some batches which are about to start. So make sure that hurry up, enroll to our session at least. Give it a try for 1 month. All right. Chalo. Let's go ahead, guys. Let's understand our next one, that is military causes. My dear students, I hope you understood everything about the political causes which I said you in detail, which I explained in detail. Now I will tell you those military causes which gave rise to the War of 1857. Let's see the military causes. Are you guys excited? Yes? Sure, let's see. First one, ill treatment of Indian soldiers. So in British Army, there were Indian soldiers and they were not treated properly. They were ill treated. How? Let me tell you. What was the condition of the Sipahi? Sipahi means Sipahi, the Indian soldier. First of all, they were poorly paid. The salary of our sepoys were very less. Second, ill-fed and badly housed. They were living in a very filthy condition, very dirty condition. Third, forbade the sepoy from wearing caste or sectarian marks. Means forbid means to refuse. Like they cannot wear turbans, they cannot keep their beard. Are you understanding? This is the way they were treated. So showed disregard for their sentiments of the sepoy. Are you understanding? The very first cause, they were not treated properly, ill treated, ill treatment towards the Indian soldiers. Are you guys understanding? First, I told you about the political causes. Now I'm telling you about the military causes. The second one, General Service and Enlistment Act. Now, what is General Service Enlistment Act? According to this act, Indian soldiers could be sent overseas on the duty. Now you will be like, sir, so what is the big deal in that? If Indian soldiers could be sent overseas on the duty, what is the big deal in that? Now listen to the big deal. According to our traditional belief, हमारे पुराने ख्यालों के हिसाब से, according to our old belief, traditional belief, it was taboo for a Brahmin to cross the sea. Yes, it was not considered good for a Brahmin to cross the sea. And purposely, what Britishers were doing, they were sending Indian soldiers to overseas, to other countries for the duty, purposely. Obviously, guys, this led to the feeling of resentment among the Brahmin soldiers. This was hurting the religious sentiments of Brahmin soldiers. And guys, all these things were purposely done by Britishers. Next, larger proportion of Indians in the British Army. Now, this was something positive. Why we revolted against Britishers? Why it became easy for the British Army to revolt against Britishers? Guys, our Indian soldiers were more in the British Army. I'm sorry. Guys, the Indian soldiers were more in the British Army. It was easier for the Indian sepoy to take arms against the Britishers. Why? Because the number of Indian soldiers were more as compared to Britishers. So what Lord Dalhousie did? Lord Dalhousie recommended more British soldiers in the army because he was aware that in British Army, Indian soldiers are more and they can at any point of time they can wage a war against Britishers. To avoid this, what Lord Dalhousie did, he recommended more British soldiers in the army. Bleak prospects of promotion. The Indian soldiers were given the subordinate position in their army. The maximum position, the maximum post of Indian soldier was not more than Subedar. All higher positions in employment were reserved for the Britishers, irrespective of their performance. Irrespective of their performance, all the higher positions were just reserved for the Britishers. Indian sepoys did not rise beyond the post of Subedar. Are you understanding? If you look at the situation from a soldier point of view, definitely he will not be happy with such kind of uh, things which were going on. Deprivation of allowances. Guys, what are allowances? Let's take an example. I work for 9 hours. I work extra 1 hour. So I will be paid extra for that 1 hour. Those are known as allowances. Now, understand. Those allowances were not given to Indian soldiers. Extension of British dominion in India adversely affected the service condition of the sepoys. How? They were required to serve areas away from their homeland. If you guys remember, in this case, according to the Act, Indian soldier could be sent overseas on the duty. Are you understanding? So look at this. They were required to serve areas away from their homeland without extra payment. So no allowances were given to these. And additional bhatta, that is foreign allowances. No extra payment was given to them. The Post Office Act of 1854. Now, this is something very important. The Post Office Act of 1854 withdrew the privilege of the free postage. So, the free postage services were given to the Indian soldiers. Now, this was cancelled. Are you guys understanding the way Britishers were behaving with the Indian soldiers? This was the way these people were being treated. So as I told, guys, as I was telling you in the start of the session, there were many reasons. There were many reasons why the War of 1857 took place. Today I just said you two reasons. Many reasons are coming on its way. Exactly. And I know you guys are waiting for that immediate cause. What was the main reason why the War of 1857 started? Everything will be told to you guys. I just want you to be there till the end of the session. Okay? Great. Next, faulty distribution of troops. Delhi and Allahabad just hold on. Yeah. Delhi and Allahabad, north of India, had no British armies and were wholly, matlab fully held by the Indian soldiers. So in Delhi and Allahabad, there had been no British army and they were fully dependent upon Indian soldiers. England was engaged in several wars outside India also, so they were engaged into many warlike situations in other countries as well. Indian sepoys were confident that the British were dependent on them for the safety of their empire. Obviously, guys, here British soldiers were firm. They were of the firm opinion that they were confident that in India they are dependent upon them. The Britishers or the British army is dependent upon Indian army. All this made them go for strike at the suitable time. So all these things became so conducive. Okay, the atmosphere became so conducive that it led to the War of 1857. As I told you, there were various reasons. There was no single reason. There were various reasons why the 1857 war took place. Next, poor performance of the British troops. Yes, now this is something you have to keep in mind, which gave confidence to Indian soldiers. British faced failures. Yes, Britishers also faced failure in the first Afghan war, Punjab war, Crimean war. Crimean war was in Europe. Santhanal tribes. There was a tribes in India, tribal people in India. Santhanal tribes of Bengal and Bihar also temporarily defeated the Britishers. This made the Sipais believe that British army could be easily defeated with their combined efforts. Because due to the poor performance of Britishers in Afghan war, in Punjab war, in Crimean war, and many such wars which are taking place in India, they failed. Okay, in these wars, Britishers, which gave Indians the confidence that yes, Britishers can be defeated, which gave rise to the War of 1857. Last but not the least, the lower salaries. As I already told you in the start of the session, wages for Indian sipais were inadequate to maintain their families. You will not believe, guys, British soldiers received 8 times better than the Indian soldiers. British soldiers received 8 times better than the Indian soldiers. Again, can I say this was also one of the reason, one of the military cause why the War of 1857 took place? Yes. So guys, let's have a quick summary of all the things which we discussed in this particular session. First of all, we had a discussion on the political cause. British had a policy of expanding their empire in India, the doctrine of lapse, disrespect which was given to the Bahadur Shah, emperor of Mughals, annexation of Awadh under the pretext of misrule, treatment given to Nana Sahib and Rani Lakshmi Bai, absentee of sovereignty of the Britishers. These were the political causes. Then these were the military causes, which we discussed just now. Now, guys, the story is not yet over. The story is just started. Guys, there are many things which are going to come up. Okay, I hope guys you are able to understand and you guys are understanding everything and like what do I say? Like this is the way I teach history in a form of story so that the excitement remains. Now, many such causes are going to come up in the coming sessions. So I want you guys to make sure that you guys just revise this topic before you come in my next session so that you will have an idea about what are we doing in this particular unit. That is the Indian War of 1857. In this particular unit, in this particular session, I gave you the explanation of two major causes in detail, the political cause and the military causes. All right. Now, yeah, there is an homework question. I want everyone to give the answer in the comment section. So, the very first question on your screen, yeah, this is fill in the blank. Which among the following is not a correct pair? Okay. आपको बताना है kind of match the following जैसा है which of the following is not a correct pair you just have to identify the incorrect pair. All right, this is the first one. Second, the name of the adopted son of Rani of Jhansi was. The third one, Subsidiary alliance was introduced by whom? I already said you this is a very important 1 mark question from exam point of view. So guys, these are your 3 homework questions, and I want you guys to attempt the answer in the comment section. Okay, guys, do let me know. Did you guys enjoyed today's session? If yes, do let me know in the comment section. And do not forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to our channel. It is absolutely free of cost. And I would also suggest you try Vedantu at least for a month. The link is there in the description box. Thank you so much, students. I'll see you guys in my next video. Till then, take very, very good care of yourself. Bye bye. Take care.